You should be arrow, baby, straight to the heart. Kogenda no tunulira nze nesabalala. And slowly I might be falling.
Yeah! Baganye best anyone, no! Omukuzali we best anyone, no!
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Shrine. Due to popular demand, the lovely Jasmine is back. Introduce yourself for the first time viewers.
My name is Mahesi Jasmine, a Ugandan, a Christian. I love my God. I love him so much. He has saved me from so many things and it has put me through. So, from Rukunjiri, and I'm blessed to be here.
Okay. So, introduce yourself for the first time.
Nyamiunga, from Nakasonga, and a descendant of Rujumbura.
I see. So, this week we have a new segment where you tell us one new thing you've learned in the new week. I'll go first since I have introduced it. While I was reading, I came across a Ghanaian naming culture where they name people according to the days of the week they were born. So, you could walk up to someone in Ghana and ask them their name, and automatically you would know which day of the week they were born. So I remember coffee is for Friday. Thursday was Yao, because I was born on Thursday. I had to check which day I was born on. It's Yao. There was Kojo. Kojo was Monday. Kwasi was Sunday. Kwasi is Sunday. Which day was your son born? Sunday, yeah. Kwasi was Sunday. I did this Sunday was Kwasi. So it's interesting, like, so Kofi Annan was born on Friday. Oh, Kwame is Saturday. So Kwame Nkrumah, Saturday. I found it very simple. No need to complicate names. So you just, the day you're born, you already have a name. Then you add the others. I found it very nice. Ranjiro, what did you learn in the new year?
Well, I think I've read a lot, but one intriguing thing that I actually read was osteoporosis. And it is low density bones, and sometimes it's congenital or it is acquired in life as people grow, either to exposure to radioactivity or any other thing that can, or lack of calcium or other things that can really weaken the bones, and the density becomes so low. And people can even get so much osteoporosis that their bones are so brittle that even they are like glass, just falling down, and you cripple like 100 bones in the body.
I see.
I think that's what I read that was intriguing this week.
I see. Jasmine?
So this week, I came across a tweet where a lady was narrating how I think the brother-in-law committed suicide because he wasn't able to support the family at that point, and he couldn't stand seeing the wife support the family. And there were people that were saying, yeah man, that was the best way forward. I was in shock. Like, there are people who actually support suicide because a woman is supporting the family. What, like, it blew my mind. Like, I thought people like were supposed to share. I don't know what. But anyway.
Gender roles for you.
Yeah.
Well, so let's get to what brought us today. We are going to be, today's topic is the unemployment plight in the country and why so many youths, even older people, but the majority of the population is youths, is deciding to go abroad. Interestingly also, in Nigeria they have a term for that. It's called to japa. The Nigerian tells you, I want to japa. That's what they mean. They want to go abroad for greener pastures. So why so many Ugandans are thinking of jabbering. They put it that way. So let's start with the unemployment. I was doing some reading while I was preparing for this episode, and I found out every year, and this was in 2020, every year in the economy, 600 to 700,000 youths are released in the job market to compete for 9,000 jobs. 9,000, and this was in 2020, before COVID. So you must already, with like game, ShopRite, living, all this, you can imagine the devastation it has caused. Already the 9,000 that we had, what is going to happen to them. And another statistic that blew me away was that the average salary, like all of us, like, is 237,000. That's the average salary for Uganda. And like when you add Sudira and you, and they divide 237,000 Uganda shillings.
Salary or income?
Income, sorry.
Forgive my
thank you. This is why we invite him. Yes, the average income is 237,000 per month. That's around $65 around there.
Yeah, around
there. Yeah. So that was a mind-blowing
so
statistic.
Can that be taken down to per day, and you see how much that can be? 237 divided by
24. Yeah.
No, it can't be under 1K.
Divide by 30.
Yes, it's about 8K.
I'm saying mental work.
It's about 8K because 240 would be 8K.
Yeah.
So that's like
7,900.
Yeah,
7,900.
Yes. So about 8,000 shillings per day.
Per day. It's the average income.
Yeah.
But
well,
we have to remember this is Sudhir and you. So
yes, but if I'll tackle that when my time comes.
okay, sir. Well, let's start with the unemployment. What blow mind?
What I would with my unemployment, my exposure to what unemployment is and what causes it, we should look at it. Well, me being a Pan-African and a Marxist, I will look at it from the angle of Marxism. And I don't think this is theory. This is extremely practical. This is how it happens. Well, in any society, in the actually it's the third law of dialectics, negation of the negation. Actually, there are three laws of dialectics. The first law is transformation from quantity to quality and vice versa. The second one is interpenetration of opposites, and the third one is negation of the negation. So there are always contradictions. That's in the second law, interpenetration of opposites, isn't it? You may not, but you will take time and read about it. So let me give it to you as a live example that when in any society, when a society is growing, and wherever there has to be development, there has to be contradictions, because it is with human reaction to such contradictions to solve them that keeps them growing. Because today you solve this problem, as a result of that problem another problem comes up, and in your attempt to solve that problem you keep going forward. So if you look at our Uganda 100 years ago and today, the health sector 100 years ago would not allow people to grow to a certain age. If you would give birth to 8 kids, only 2 or 3 would make it to adulthood. Now here comes a health sector which the NRA or who is in government or was in government chose to make as versatile as it looks. Vaccination, outreaches to the ground level. Almost every sub-county has, I think, a health center 2 or health center 3 as a must, which is stuffed with some free drugs for tropical diseases only. So the other diseases you have to go to a pharmacy and get some drugs. So we realize we are having a healthy population where people are growing to an age that becomes employable. They are no longer dying young. And at the same time, the industries are not developing at the same rate as the people. So now you have made the population healthy, they have a higher life expectancy, they have some fair level of education, but the industries are not there. So what results in? People will automatically become unemployed. So when you try to resolve the unemployment by putting up industries, the industries will now come up with things like pollution and what. So you have to come up with the technology to solve the pollution. So as you solve one thing results into another challenge. So when you solve the health problems, life expectancy, high child mortality rate, low fertility rate and stuff, obviously you're growing the population. Because in any nation, the first thing they focus on is growing the labor, and that is the human resource. But now we are looking at a country that cannot absorb all the people that it produces, or the people that survive to stay in such a population. So I could say it is that in Uganda we have been either fortunate or unfortunate, because people are fortunate enough to survive and unfortunate enough to get means of survival. That is the unemployment. I can talk about that first later. I can give about it. That's why we have unemployment, because we have an environment that enables people to survive childhood, middle age, and they make it adult, where they should become unemployed and make their own means of survival.
So, as a Pan-African, do you believe in this flight?
No,
this labor flight?
I don't believe in the flight, because there is no one who is going to solve your problem.
You just said the unfortunate. You've just said the unfortunate not to have the means to what? To earn a living. So if they go looking for greener pastures, why would you say that one is going to solve your problems?
Yeah.
Okay. They may flee or stay and solve it.
How? We've said there are 9,000 jobs for 700,000 people. How do you solve?
Okay. We should look at production stimulants. We should look at how the jobs come into existence, how they come to exist. There is no we should create an avenue where people can employ themselves on top of just entering the job market, look for jobs from the established structures where they're going to get exploited anyway.
True.
Because I can give an example of a graduate of textile engineering from Chambogo being employed in Nigeria for 300,000 shillings. Why wouldn't the same person escape to China, where the same graduate with the same knowledge earns, is it about 11,000 yuan?
How much is that in
I don't know how that could convert to Ugandan currency, but it is anywhere between 3 and 5. You get it? And on top of that, this guy is given housing, he's given transport, he's given everything. So people will flee. So that is the unfortunate bit that...
So it's okay for them.
Fortunate.
Yes, they have an escape.
It's fortunate for the individual, but not fortunate for the continent as a whole or the country as a whole. Because the country does this. They put sponsorships, lots of government sponsorship and everything, so they can create labor to sustain their industries and everything. Because most of these industries you have here are manned by foreign people.
Yes, but we've gotten to a level where Chinese are building bridges and they come with their own manual laborers.
Yes. Okay, that would come in the solutions, how the government can tackle it.
Jasmine seems itching to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grasp his concept on the level of an everyday Ugandan.
Yes.
As a Pan-African, as a you said all those big words, but to a normal Ugandan like me,
you want to survive. It's the first thing.
We are waking up in the morning to go look for that paper. Let me give you an example. This man, his father dies, leaves him a piece of land to do something with his life. Immediately the father comes, said important person comes and says, this is my piece of land.
Oh, the father had loans. And it is taken.
No, please. The story is...
He lost the land to some...
The story is straight. This person has the land title.
Yes.
The father never had loans.
Yeah.
However, said big in person says, this is my land, I want it. Only after the other person died, because probably the other person would fight a harder battle. But this one has been left with 2 younger sisters to take care of. COVID comes around, the sisters are asked to come back from school, no one picks them. brother disappeared. They go home, they find the saucepans that he had cooked food in the day he left home. To go and talk to Said, important person. And he goes to jail just like that. No one hears his plea, no one hears his case. The sisters come home, no one is there to take care of them.
You get it?
You get it? No more Uganda. Guy just woke up to go see what he could dig on his father's land. Just to see how he could feed his sisters. Yeah? Let's first live there. You go to Darling, the guys that make hair, they pay 2K per day to be locked in there from till dawn. You don't get out, you don't do nothing, no water. You stand there, piecing hair the whole day. That money costs a lot, that hair sells for a lot of money, but you're paying the workers 2K per day. You get. Then, now you come back down to the investment opportunities, where the Indians now have been given 100% profit repatriation. Actually, I don't know if it's just.
But I think it was just propaganda. I don't think
it's real. First of all, you have them surviving in Uganda without papers. Because when they steal their property, they tell you don't call the police. They tell you don't call the police. Why? Because they could be. But somehow they are thriving. They're beyond thriving. Now they even steal their stuff and they replace just like that. Yeah? And they are treating a Ugandan, the maid. Her cups, her utensils are kept in the toilet. You report this to Equal Opportunities, they'll arrest you as reported. Yeah? So, and also the Ugandans are scared now. We are scared. We are, Ugandans are okay with you because they are just fear. They don't want to be lifted in drones or anything. So now we have come down to a point where you'll be there at Pioneer Mall hustling, buying your clothes to go and sell to someone, and then tear gas shows up all of a sudden. Yeah? Then you leave that. Now, like you said, you go to the formal sector and all you're being is exploited. All that's happening is you're being exploited. I mean, we have this whole toxic work thing happening, and you find people are having your last episode was about mental health. Yes, and I tell you, no, it's not what I worked 2 months in one place, and I left there feeling like I need to see a physiotherapist for 2 years. It was traumatizing, the things, and you cannot speak because at the end of the day, the other person is more powerful. So for me, unemployment, it's more than that. It's more than the kind of environment we are living in. One full of fear, one full of gambanogu. It's gambanogu. They advertise jobs in the newspapers, but the guys are in Tankwazi celebrating their jobs already. Yes, but they're telling you you are at their lines, and the people already know where they are.
So what she's saying is as a result of what? Okay, in any economy, as long as there are more people than the jobs, exploitation is there. That is the heaven of the capitalist. The capitalist has cheap and free labor at his will and exploit as he wants. There is no commensurate return between the money made and the money given to the person working for it.
My point was, our own government doesn't protect us.
Our
own government will not protect us.
It hurts me to see a lawyer in a suit Monday to Friday and getting 300,000.
And that is very true. And remember, this is a guy who suffered with LDC.
4 years of law school and 1 year of LDC.
No, law school is something you can ignore. The pressure there is not humongous. The 1 year of LDC can combine your 20 years in school from baby class up to S6 and S4 and campus. So, in any economy, as long as there are more people than the jobs available, the person who is willing to suffer the most will take the job.
What the way to put it?
If you're willing to suffer the most,
true.
For the sake of survival, you get the job. If you're not fortunate enough to have the connection or to have the godfather or the bargaining power, you get it. I beg your pardon?
Gamba no go.
And you see that thing of Gamba no, you are really pushing it to one region of the country.
No, I'm
We
not.
have very many power brokers from wherever it is. No, you can use another stand.
It's
you
just-
can
It's
use
just the
my-
one I know.
It's
that's
just the one
most
that's trending.
popular.
Yeah, it's
the one
currently the one that's
trending.
trending.
Actually,
It's the one
that
that's
makes very many people vulnerable in the
Ah,
economy. You step on a border, and is that xenophobia? Is it actually
we are coming.
xenophobia
We have
because
an
of such
episode. We have an
assumed
episode.
privileges?
We have an episode for tribalism coming very
Yes.
soon.
The-
But
the-
I wanted to ask you guys, starting with you since I cut you short. What do you think of minimum wage?
What I think about minimum wage, it is very necessary. It's very necessary, but we should look at the ability to achieve it.
Yeah.
That is the first thing we start with, the ability to achieve it. And you can talk about minimum wage in there are people who earn like 5 million minimum wages per day. So if my minimum wage is 2k, there is a nigga who is getting 2 billion a day.
No, but there's a basic. A
Yes,
lawyer
there's a
cannot go to
stipulated
LDC.
one.
Yes, Kati, you see what we are talking about minimum wage. When they talk about minimum wage, they only talk about professionals. They say if you're a professional with a bachelor, this is my minimum you will get. They will not say a lawyer minimum this, an engineer minimum this. There is no economy that regulates that to that level.
First pause.
You get it. But even guys with a bar, you also have to have a practicing certificate.
True.
They can't just protect you just because you have a bar or you're just out of law school, but you're not professional enough to be registered with them. Same thing with engineering. That engineering registration board, the ERA.
GMU.
Yes, that GUIMPE.
Yeah.
Before you get there, they are regardless of which profession you are, before you get protected by the established, there are some years of exploitation here in the middle between you, between
And
your,
some fees. I'm talking
yes,
some fees.
it's not free. So those societies exist and they help. Another thing, the other group that we are just talking about unemployment from in the professional.
Yeah.
We are not talking about the other informal sector.
Why?
The informal sector,
No,
there are people.
he's asking. Okay, in terms of minimum
you're
wage.
regulating just
In terms of
okay, 'cause
minimum
the
wage.
informal-
Yeah.
The informal sector, they are even regulating that one is like a million times
Quick
hard.
question on that one.
Uh-huh.
There is a body called Equal Opportunities that regulates, that doesn't really put probably a bar or
On-
a standard of how much someone should pay. Or,
But at least they look at the rights.
yeah, but
Yes.
how practical do you think it is for such a body? Because on ground it doesn't sound, it's not proving to be very
That's what I'm trying to say.
just. However, how do you think it's practical so in the informal sector?
No, I'm talking about groups fighting such exploitation and unemployment in the informal sector. The informal sector, we have peasants, guys who rear their own cows, and they are also being exploited in this same economy. So they end up losing out and also joining the formal sector for whatever job it is, and they're also competing with. You'll find, for example, me, I may have the ability to dig and get some food to eat and everything, but I'm not going to take my food to a medical center to get treated.
Treatment,
I must be able to get a market for my small crops to get money, then I can use the money to go for treatment wherever I can go.
True.
So if I find that still someone is also exploiting me at the farm,
Yes.
I dig for 6 months, wait for the season, water, do everything, and then from my small farm I'm only getting 20k. Yet if I move into Kampala and go to someone's site and do chipota a day, I get like 12k. So he abandons the agriculture and comes to this, and he also now enters the competition. He's willing to be exploited because he's having a worse condition
Because
elsewhere.
I've encountered examples of what you're saying where that 12k, is it called the foreman? You sign for 12, but you
Gives you
receive
11 or 10. Yeah, that's his deal for you to give you a job, because you're going to come 200 of you, and he says you, but you guys for
it's
it to
just
work today,
lifting
this
things.
is it.
Yes, so
So-
you sign for 12, but you receive 10.
Yes, people do it because
So many times, by the way.
there's no contract of employment. You're easily exploited. People just live like, let's say Mbalwa, foot up to town on those buildings to do pottery.
So do you have any
That-
work today?
Yes, But many people are there. For you to be able to work, you have to bribe the foreman
with your daily earnings.
with your daily earnings.
That is why it becomes tricky now, for especially like those people.
Yes, you know.
How will you determine the minimum wage for a Rolex guy?
That's what I'm trying to. Those are the informal sector. In the formal sector, it's very kind of possible.
Yeah.
But like where we're talking about the informal sector, that's when these cooperative societies come in, those groups, circles, and everything. If the people in let's say Bugolobi, Rolex, they make a society of their own.
True.
That society can prevent them from exploitation and even running out of the business. But again, I've seen places where they have created such societies. They also become small mafias.
Yes.
I can give an example of border borders. When they create their castage and their association and they are surviving, you can't penetrate it.
True.
So any other person who comes from wherever they are, is either for him to come in, he also be exploited. Yes, as long as they insulate themselves, they are good to go. But they will now exploit the other party. Yes, they have insulated themselves from exploitation from a higher echelon of power. But now the people who are joining them, so they get too much bargaining power that they now begin. Anyway, that also needs some regulation.
But also, she said our last episode was on mental health. I don't know, is career guidance still relevant with all this unemployment, all this exploitation?
I can. Okay.
I think
Is
it's
it just
to
guidance?
redirect. We need to redirect.
No,
our
listen,
career
it's only guidance.
Mm.
It's only guidance. And we can be honest about what we learned in school is not what we meant in the field.
Yes.
They will guide you that medicine is lucrative, everything, but you're seeing medical interns fighting every day, striking, sitting down.
True. And I'll never forget me when I was still, so many years ago, I think about 90 or 100, when I was still in high school. The career guidance guy came and said, they've prospected oil. Anyone who is seeing money in the future, go and study oil. What is it called? Petroleum.
Petroleum
To
exploitation.
this day, I have so many people who
went there,
whose
but right
parents
now they're still
almost
not
blew
yet
all
employed.
their fortunes on their children going to study petroleum abroad and whatnot. And to this day, they're still unemployed. So that career guidance, I feel, and it's what is shackling many of these people's bubbles. Let me say, they tell you. There's a friend of ours who used to tell us, lawyers, oh my God, are you hearing? Airtel is being bought. Is it Zain that was bought?
Zain bought Celtel. Airtel bought out Zain.
Yes, now that
deal. And again bought out Warid.
That deal, actually, it was Warid. Yes, I think it was Airtel and Warid. Saying the lawyers are pocketing. We were still in campus. Yes, that who were in that thingy, merger and acquisition. Was saying, as a lawyer, you're entitled to, I think, 10% of the transaction or something like that. So I think the deal was like $300 million, and I said, now you see, the lawyers are getting 3.2, but to achieve that level,
to bargain such big.
Yes, like there are very, very few, and now they had a monopoly, but now you're seeing there's LDC, Kampala, Mbarara, and I think there's one also somewhere north or something. They're like three. There are three, and now they're actually fighting to make it not a mustard. It should be LDC should be the monopoly. They want other training centers for that extra year. You understand? So the myth back then was because the lawyers were few. So if you studied law, you almost had a guaranteed chance of
that
success.
you'll get a job.
Yes, but now, oh my God.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Oh my God.
You see, Uganda in the 70s.
That's what I'm saying.
If someone survived school, he was sure of employment.
Yes.
Which is not the case today.
That's what I'm saying. When I say is career guidance still relevant, why don't they tell children these things so that you come prepared? But you come, oh my God.
That's what
even the girls used to say, he does law,
Like not even that. Like it's because I believe we are using the same education program, the same.
Even the person giving you career guidance has gone through the same bogus education system. How do you expect that person to give you an extra knack in exposure? And actually, I've seen teachers who get sacked for teaching like the right thing. You tell people, you know what, where you're going,
It's hard.
It's hard, and they're like, what are you telling children? You're making them lose focus. They're going. what it is right now in any school is about grades.
Yeah.
Not about employability.
Yeah.
Because I can give you an example of my own year. I entered campus with a few points, but good enough to give me a government sponsorship in engineering. But we had some guys who came from some schools with 25. And then some kids who came from Torere, that side of Chisoro. And he's being brought in by district.
You had to mention Chisoro with the current
no.
fracas going
I
around.
can tell you Chisoro has more sober-minded people than just one bicycle episode. So this guy comes with actually the list. He had I think 18. Yet in a class of guys of 25, 24, 23. Ninja smoked us. Actually even passed with the first class. Literally, that shows you that from where he had been, he was doing the actual work. Meanwhile, these other guys, it was just the grades. He's in a very big school, they are going to copy for him, do whatever it is. So when he comes out, he's extremely unemployable. So the school itself, they are not going to focus on the facts or the truth. They just make sure their students get an A or whatever it is.
So do you think it's feasible for our education system to change?
Yeah, it is on a few fronts. But it is not on many fronts.
No.
Because I feel like our education system is also a big contributor
to the unemployment.
Yeah, because you see there is, you could even have these jobs. You could even have these jobs and you could have maybe probably the right number of people for these jobs. But you guys, let's be very honest. We are not ready for this work. The school we go through does not really prepare us for
that's
that
what that's what I was trying to talk about. That interpenetration of opposites. Here we are. We enter. These guys come take over a country with almost 70% literacy, and their first goal is, man, let's fight illiteracy. UPE, US, everything. So we're having everyone having a minimum level of education, ability to express himself, and minimum employable skills. The thing was just fight illiteracy, just put ignorance out. We know someone, in as much as they are unemployable, at least they know what malaria is, they know what measles is,
immunization.
They know what immunization is. You get what I'm saying? So we cannot say this education is bad. It was tailored for one thing, which was achieved, but it has now to be retailored for other things. You get it? And one of the retailoring you are going to look at is technical and vocational skills. You get it? Because I can tell you, after my 4 years in school, I was almost unable to repair or overhaul an engine. And I was in school, I can say, I studied for 4 years and this is what I was doing. But the machines I was learning, you just go for industrial training, they put you in an office, you just come, look down, see what people are doing in the production line, and that's it. Someone with a diploma or a certificate somewhere has the ability to do the actual work. So you find yourself with a lot of theory in your brain and unable to be employed. How are you going to compete? So you find that even me, I was a little bit lucky that the first place I got employed, I got exposure to things and I was like, why did I spend 4 years in school? I should have come here for like 1 year and learn the real thing. You get what I'm saying? So I think the education sector we have today, all that was tailored in the recent 2-3 decades, was just to fight illiteracy on the bigger scale.
Therefore, that comes to our point.
No, exactly. So, if someone wants to live and go be a maid in Oman because they studied social works and social administration, it's not that all people. Please, it's not a personal attack on that course. I just use the random course, social works and social administration. If they can't find jobs and they want to be a maid in Oman, isn't that better?
Yeah, it is better. It is better for the individual and it is good for the individual. But what if...
And if all individuals are empowered, isn't it better for the country?
Okay, let's assume this person goes and is empowered, but is that person a citizen where he's being empowered? He has to come back here. Now, what about he has gone there, worked, done whatever he has done, comes back to Uganda and the environment is still not suitable for him to settle and use his capital?
So what would you suggest this person does? How would he fight against to see that it's a better...
Because the way I see it, especially the people, honestly, that are being taken to work abroad, surely when you look at them, they stand no chance. You find a girl who has come from deep in the village. She has come. She's telling you, please give me a job as a maid. You've just come out of school. You can't give anyone a job as a maid. Maybe come and wash my clothes once every 2 weeks. I'll keep them, save that 10k. That's the best I can do for that person. However, that 10k is going to take them for how long? That one day they're going to go buy a pamper, buy some charcoal, buy some monies.
That's what I was
So here's no for me, and I'm coming from a stance of I am those people seeking to go out and learn what these people. Okay, not even to work, but just the exposure. The exposure that because people, everybody that has somehow made it in Pan-Africanism, Marxism, when you go back in time and you look through these people's lives, they're widely exposed. They've worked, they've gone abroad, they've seen what's there, they've seen what has worked.
They've learned.
Yes, they have learned. They have come back. But you see, when you're there, you have to have something keeping you there. That's why I think I've come to a point where I do not mind, because now you're telling people to stay in this country, but what are they staying for? What are they staying for? For instance, there's that lady who got shot while serving food. I think that thing went viral.
Yeah,
that lady,
2020. She was
2021, January,
2020.
during the elections.
No, the shooting happened was this on 19th November. That one was taking around Fido.
Sorry, yes.
That was November
So
2020.
it was November, eh?
Yeah.
Sorry, time flies.
And the bullet just went astray and blew their head.
She left 4 children with her grandmother in the village. If one of those children matured and said, hey, and also the government is collecting people. Recently, someone told me, the NRM is looking for up to 150 people. You must be NRM. Please note, it was a strict what? That person must be NRM. They are collecting 150 people to take abroad. And the other day, I saw the buses leave.
Abroad for?
Work. I saw the Saudi
type of
man. Saudi man.
But again, let's look at, you're talking about 150 people in an influx
I'm just
of
giving
people
an
who are
example.
700,000 per year.
I'm just giving an
That
example.
is what percentage? That is like
No, but
0.00
I'm just
something.
giving an example.
Yes.
I'm not even
Those
saying
are
that
actually,
is
that's the small limitation of privileges that not everyone shares. And I would want to say that if we are discussing something on the broad basis, I cannot start talking about the child of Kutesa. His life is made.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens. Yes.
It's settled.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we are talking about the average Ugandan
Yeah.
who is not an NRA cadre, who is not a UPC cadre, who doesn't have the privilege of saying that, you know what, because I'm supporting Nupo, because and the party is going to consider you. Because regardless of which party, there are those people who are going to get the privileges and those who will not.
So the people that were telling me about the opportunities were just pretending to be there for the sake of going.
Yes.
They people say, this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
That is where we are.
Yeah, you have to be where the tree is being cut so it can follow
Just
you.
for saying
You're not going to be somewhere where it is not, and then you expect it to follow you.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
what that's what I was trying to tell you. You guys, you can talk about all those countries that have emancipated themselves through communism or whatever has happened in those countries. Yes, they got exposure from wherever they got the exposure and brought it back home. Even here in Africa,
But
the quest for independence began with our grandfather's exposure in World War II. Those who were taken to fight abroad, they saw that if I shoot a white man, he dies. So this image the whites had planted in Africa as gods died. So they could come back and revolt and fight and get everything. So the exposure is good because when someone goes out there, he sees something, learns from it and brings it back. And those few are just technocrats. Not a maid. A maid is tied up in someone's home every day. Cook food, bring food, give on the table. How is that person going to create an impact on return?
I will move the debate also to an article I read in one of the newspapers, local newspapers called The Observer recently, where a certain politician I will not name was negotiating with some Chinese officials who were discussing building, I think, a dam or something. So he asked them, how much are you paying my workers, the Ugandan workers? So the Chinese said $14 a day. $14 must be like 38 something a day.
10
Says-
is 38. 14 could be like 40 something.
Okay, 40 something, yeah. And the politician said, oh my God, no, you want to ruin our workers? Cut it by half. You'll spoil them with money. So also it goes back, like, it's all round, you understand? Even the policy.
So
No, let me
So-
tell you.
Yes.
Let's
can
learn
this
from
person
this.
can this person lobby for minimum wage?
Now, what I'm trying to tell you is, we are talking about politicians who are also in the service sector, who also own businesses. One, I'm supposed to lobby for Ugandans, but I also own a factory where I have employees, and my ability to make a profit as a capitalist is exploiting them. So here comes a guy who is giving them a better bargain. So if that better bargain exists, I will no longer have the power to exploit them. So I cannot bring policies that prevent me from making money. It's the same thing about education. You cannot make a person who is in charge, either under secretary or whatever, permanent secretary for Minister of Education or Minister of Education or whatever for primary, owning a school. How can the ancestor own a private school which is supposed to make money at a given level, also superintend over government-owned schools? Because he knows as long as government-owned schools are failing, children will flock to what? To my schools, and I will make money. So if a policy actually me, in my communism, I believe education and health are never to be commercialized. They are supposed to be owned by the state and controlled by the state.
True. So guys, I don't know how our time is. How is our time, sir?
10 minutes.
Okay. So as
Look at the solution.
yes, as the solutions, do you think going abroad is the
I think it's a temporary solution.
It's a temporary solution, and I would advise, even if I have someone who is suffering in Uganda, and he doesn't have the employable skill, the only skill he has is cook food, do what, put on lights, clean a house, but he can get somewhere where that can earn him a good. Because I can tell you, because my maid doesn't earn more than 100, but that 100 is for her to send back to the mother in the village. Because even if you talk about the average clothes, the average shoe, that money is too small. I can also admit that in the labor market I'm exploiting her.
Yeah.
so solutions? Okay,
My first solution, I'm looking at vocational training or vocational skills. If the broad base or the bigger population has vocational skills, that is what is most employable, by the way. Because if you look at the theoretical things, that is first and second tier management. You don't expect someone with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering to be the one repairing the engine down. He's supposed to be somewhere creating an operational plan, doing the strategies of how stuff like that. Or he should be somewhere in a think tank trying to innovate. What are the best engines that we should make? If Chira EV is making engines, what engine should be electrical or solar? What? Something like that. That is where he should be. But are they empowered to have that? No. So if we don't have an industrial sector that can absorb them, they should have the extra vocational skill to be employable. Because if you go like Tundeba, we have people who make good money in welding, what, and they don't need a lot of capital to be there. And they are not. He cannot be easily exploited because he has the skill, and the skill
yes.
he can bargain for his skill.
True.
You get what I'm saying? Same thing with China. I can give an example of China. Their emancipation, on top of agriculture, it was cottage industries, household industries. Every house has a skill. And another thing, by the way, that breaks us as Ugandans is the lack of continuity in any skill, in any family. Because if you look like at our grandfathers, if my father was a herdsman, I'm likely to learn herdsmanship, become a herdsman, grow that, and we have the same skill through the family. But now in our modern Uganda and our education, the media teaches people, chase your dreams, do what you want. But that thing is not sustainable because you have a father who is a doctor, he works so hard, toils so hard to establish either a medical facility or something, but the child is busy saying, I want to be a musician. So his legacy dies with him. And the child who comes after him also tries to build his own thing.
Yeah, he wants to be a lawyer.
I want to be a lawyer. After he has established chambers and everything, now the child wants to be maybe a beautician.
Yes.
So that lack
Interior
of
designer.
continuity. So you find that the legacy of the dad dies somewhere. He also comes and fights his own wars, tries to enter the market in wherever it is. It also dies with him. So I think if we have the ability to establish skill-based jobs, and it creates employment for the family and the children and everything. Because I don't think, even if my child goes to school and learn whatever they learn, and me I was making chapatis, and they come back home, if I was just making chapatis, now they start selling them on Glovo, they improve them to Uganda. Or if I'm a cattle rearer as a person, I believe if my child has gone to school, got another exposure, to come and say, you know what, now you see, instead of selling live cows, we can slaughter the live cows and start selling meat and supply here. So his child comes into the picture, says, now live cows, yes, make money, but I think we should process further. We start canning them and getting contracts to supply, or we can now mince or make sausages. It's just value addition. It is a trade that runs in the family. It creates employability, by the way. And all it needs is just a simplification of skill. This whole stupidity of breaking a family continuity, I think it is another problem causing unemployment. Every person with their own legacy. No, it doesn't work.
I see.
Caring needs to be done on the family level, because it is from there that the main nurturing comes from. At school, we were just sent to learn, like I said, basic fundamentals of but it's at home where we are nurtured. It's where we get our character, our moral compass, and at the end of the day, if you're lazy at home, you're not going to be hardworking in the work field. You'll never. If at home you cannot work with your family, that's that. You want to do something different. And unfortunately now we live in a generation where there's such a big disparity in parents and children. Everyone has dad issues, everyone has mom issues. Yes, everybody in the world has those issues, but there is a certain bonding that needs to be done on how to fix these relationships. I believe there's been a very big divide there. When people are sure of where they have come from, and when their parents have taken the time to nurture them, because most times parents be too busy to nurture the children, so the children are influenced by other things. That's why you find now the child wants to be a musician. For them, they've seen someone has shown them the good side of music, but the parent has not shown them where
you have to
medicine is saving lives. The parent is always telling them, I'm busy, let me, you get it. And well, we're in a generation where honestly most people have been raised by their mates and boarding schools.
It's only going to get worse.
Yes, and in those boarding schools, what are we being taught as well? If we went to a boarding school of a technical or vocational thingy for 6 years, then 6 years or more, but I believe you'd come out better,
a better person.
Yes, than going to study theory for 6 years. Of that theory, guys, I'm still looking for the koi and the koisan and how they help me earn money in the future.
No, that
you understand? I'm just
at
giving an
least-
example.
at least.
At
But
least those ones are in
Tennessee
Africa.
Valley Authority.
Tennessee Valley River Project. That's an agricultural scheme that is never going to be applicable in Uganda.
There's
Not
one
even the
that, I
environment.
think that one, there's one
There's
that's no
Rhinelands.
longer, that is no longer there.
The
I think the
Rhinelands.
Tennessee Valley-
Yes, the Canadian
No,
prairies,
yeah.
and someone is paying a hefty amount of money
To study that.
to study that.
Can you
Yet the same
imagine?
amount of money could be used as capital,
Thank you very
where
much.
these kids would be employable if they have a minimum skill. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if my dad didn't take me to school and chose to use my school fees buying cattle every term, I'd be a very big rancher now.
Guys.
I wouldn't need to look for
Guys.
yes.
honestly true.
I wouldn't have to look for a job.
I see.
So,
Guys,
the closing remark being, there's a lot that we need to do as the youth. We are the most. And it starts now, not tomorrow. Like what we do in the dark while we feel like there's no hope is what is going to count once the hope has been restored. Prepare yourself. And I keep telling this to everyone. You could choose to complain about what's going wrong and what's right, or you could choose to prepare yourself in your circle. Empower your people to get prepared. Empower. Like, let's get empowered to prepare. Yes, we do not have the means right now, but that's not 10 years later it's going to be different.
True.
You know, I'm learning to be patient in entrepreneurship. That it's not going to happen in okay, honestly guys, when I came out of school I knew that by 25 I would have some established business. However, when you come out and they first play you sell the TV and they give you some fake dollars, guy, you think you have real dollars. It was a humbling experience, but it taught me much more about business than
School would.
Thank you very much. And at the end of the day, I know people that have homeschooled their kids. Now their kids are excelling in university and they're excelling in society and they are contributing what they can now. Like, of course, it's not, man, we're not trying to oust people, we are not nothing, but we are waiting for the day when our input is going to make
something.
Yes, and I promise you then I will be ready to say this education system needs to change. This is where it needs to change. I'm studying, I'm doing research, I'm also making myself a better person. I'm becoming humble, patient, because we all know that in a normal modern society, that's not how we grow up. We are not cut to that cloth of being hardworking and all that. We honestly, as Ugandans, we are very comfortable people.
Online entrepreneurs.
Yes, we are online entrepreneurs and all that. But and also, prepare myself to be a mother because of the nation. Because at the end of the day,
like you said, nurturing.
Yeah.
I see. Well, my closing remarks are maybe we should try the president in one of his addresses said, "You poor people's children are the problem. We should try hiring rich people's children. They are not corrupt." So
no, that president's statement, I would debunk it on every front.
That's